there were a fair number who came after the fact.
Okay.
But one of the big challenges, and one of the things that I think is very, very important for people to know, was that we didn't have an infrastructure failure with communications. The repeater stations, several of them stayed on the air. The one that I maintained stayed on the air because it was at the TV station that I worked at.
Amateur radio infrastructure.
Right.
The amateur radio communications
Right.
infrastructure
In the oil
lived through it. But the human beings, the ham radio operators, were down to just a handful of people who were, most of them had other jobs. Like Keith was a ham operator, he was a sheriff's deputy. Everybody else either left before the storm or they were evacuated post-storm. But there was a level of an incompetence that, in my estimation, borders on the criminal. As a radio operator at City Hall, when I first got there, they would periodically order everybody out of the radio room, and we had to turn all the radios off because they wanted to use the room for a conference call because they had a speakerphone in there. And they were going to have conference calls with the other parishes. This radio to communicate to the hospitals. Every hospital and every ambulance actually has a certain frequency, a VHF frequency, not a ham frequency. 155.34 is it?
340.
That every hospital in the country, with an exception, if it's a small hospital it may not, has this frequency. Hospitals can talk to hospitals, ambulances can talk to ambulances, your ambulance company can talk to my ambulance company. And we had a representative of the hospital association there. I still remember this lady. She reminded me of Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire. And after the hurricane, again, this is when we're still thinking, oh, it's just wind damage. Oh, we've dodged the big one. You know, it tore up all the antennas on the roof of the city hall and stuff like that. But we're still here to tell the tale. She charged me with the responsibility of contacting the different hospitals in the area and assessing what their needs were. And I prepared a form, and I found it the other day. I was cleaning up. I found the very form. Find out what kind of blood they needed, what kind of water they had on hand, if they needed any generator fuel, that sort of thing. See, Orleans OEP, this is Louisiana Heart Hospital. Do you read? Do you read? Do you copy? Well, Louisiana Heart Hospital is across Lake Pontchartrain on the North Shore. Yes, we have you loud and clear. Oh, thank God, we have no communications. We've lost all communications. We have no telephone. We are desperately low on supplies. And we are flooded in. We need, and this lady was sort of rattling off. Clearly she wasn't a trained radio operator. She just started going, so many units of O negative, so many units of AB positive.
The litany begins.
Kodak X-ray cartridges, the one with the gray tab, not the one with the green tab. And I wrote down the margins, and I wrote and wrote and wrote. And I got through and turned to the lady from the hospital association and said, Louisiana Heart Hospital's in a bad way. They just requested all this support. Louisiana Heart Hospital? Oh, that's Region 9. That's not our region. Tell them to call the 800 number. I said, well, ma'am, they have no telephone. They're in desperate. Well, that's not our region. I can't worry about that.